Combat Pro Wrestling fans, this is Sign Guy with you once again, right here at the Aurora Borealis Event Center, October 12th, 2024. Combat Pro Wrestling presents Horror Business, right here at this Aurora Borealis Event Center. There's a lot of fresh faces in Combat Pro Wrestling these days. You have El Tigre Oro. He's fighting for the CPW Cruiserweight Championship. You have Cade Knox fighting for the CPW Heavyweight Championship against J-Sinn, the brand new champion. You have, making their debut for Combat Pro Wrestling, Big Nasty Logan, whom I helped train, and all the way from Idaho, Massimo. They're fighting for the CPW Tag Team Championship. And then you have, as seen on this very t-shirt, Reese Maddox in his CPW debut facing Marcus Aris for the CPW International Championship. Now they call this Horror Business, and that might be the most appropriate name for a show I've ever appeared on in my career, because when you look up and down that roster of new faces, there's a conflict there. It's a horror for me, because right here, that's my Washington State wrestling license. Look at that. Sign Guy, State of Washington. The state of Washington trusts me to uphold the rules and the regulations in professional wrestling as set forth by this very state. They put their trust in me to be impartial and to do the right thing and to bring integrity to this sport. Combat Pro Wrestling pays me good money to uphold the rules, to be impartial, to make sure it's a fair fight every time. But when it comes down to it, if they put me in these matches, if I look into the eyes of Big Nasty Logan and he's 3 seconds away from winning that tag team title, how do I not count that much faster and get him that title? I literally trained him for that moment. How do I snatch that away from him? When you look at Cade Knox, I have officiated 80% of his total matches. I helped bring him to CPW. If he's in there with that giant killer J-Sinn, and the only way he can win is to smash a chain into J-Sinn's face as hard as he can, am I going to look away? Am I not going to see that chain? Am I going to pretend it didn't happen? And then you come down to this. Reese Maddox. His father's very first professional match. I was there. I was literal day one. Reese Maddox, when he was born and his dad had to go off to Ring of Honor to make money for the hospital bills, I was checking in on him. I was making sure everything was okay. When Reese Maddox decided to turn professional and follow in his father's footsteps, I flew across the country and drove hours to get to that venue, and with tears in my eyes, nobody was prouder than I was when Reese Maddox had that first match. And here he comes to face Marcus Aris. When you take away the professional wrestling business, you strip all the rings, you take all the promotion, all the wrestling out of it, we're still family. How do I look at that kid and tell him you didn't hold him down long enough? How do I tell him it wasn't quite 3? How do I reconcile this? How do I reconcile the Big Nasty Logans, the Massimos, the El Tigre Oros, the Cade Knox, with what this symbolizes? That's the horror business I have to deal with. So Combat Pro Wrestling fans, buy yourself a ticket. I don't know how it's going to go down on the 12th. But that's why you're going to pay that ticket price. That's why you're going to go through those doors. And you're going to watch every one of those new faces do the very best that they can. and you're gonna see me not know what I'm gonna do.